This is Charlotte Conversations. I'm here with Miss Kelly. I'm Pastor Barrett. We're so enthused to have this wonderful group. Well, it'll be a couple ladies today, hopefully, having a discussion about getting to your wrap, your wellness recovery action plan. Do you have some stress in your life? Or you have some struggles with depression, sadness, just challenging thoughts? But there is an answer for it. We have a solution. There is a balm in Charlotte will meet your needs. Are you going through some changes in life that you think that you're by yourself? We're here to tell you you are not by yourself. You're not by yourself. And so we're enthused about this. Miss Kelly, tell us, who are you?
Hi, how are you?
Oh.
Hi, how are you? Originally from New York. I've been in Charlotte, 12 years, and I've been in the social work industry for 32 years.
Wow.
And so I've worked with children in foster care. I've worked with children with mental health challenges, preschool intervention, community organizing, after-school programming. So I love working with children and families.
Now you, in your, I guess I won't say partner in her absence, you have an organization that you guys work with.
Yes, Trinity Wellness Community Care. It is a behavioral health company that works with adults who are suffering from mental health and substance abuse challenges.
And so, what's an adult age start? 18?
18.
18? Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent, excellent. Do they have to live out in Monroe? Where are you located?
No, anywhere in the state of North Carolina.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And are your services covered by insurance?
Medicaid, it's all Medicaid funded. And then now that Medicaid has gone managed care, we work with 10 different health insurance companies through Medicaid.
Right. And so mental health, I started, as a pastor, my benefits, I get 4 free therapy sessions. Mm-hmm. So for my birthday, which was last Thursday before last.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. July 20th. Yes, all month.
Okay.
And
that's right, all month.
Mm-hmm. And soon, unfortunately. But I started my process. I did the whole month of July. I started examining myself. I examine. I want to measure myself as a man as I'm going into my birthday. Mm-hmm. And part of this process, what I did was I started therapy. I've done 2 so far. I've done 2. And it was great. I mean, some people shy away from mental health. I know growing up in the church, it was we'd go get prayed for all the time. Right. But then you would see people do things in the church like, man, they need to. Yeah. But so I decided to take on being responsible and went to therapy. Now, all I do really, for those who have never been to therapy, is I talk my head off to somebody that, as a pastor, we don't only talk to pastors about my issues, right? Mm-hmm. But I hear everybody else's issues. So I gave this woman a whole hour of stuff, and she just got so fascinated. She was like, "Oh, go tell me more." But I was like, "How kind of?" But you guys, tell me about what do you do that may be different from just going to a therapist?
So now I'm more of in a management capacity, but I still work very closely with the staff. We have frontline staff that has actually had their own mental health challenge. It's actually a requirement of the program, but they have to have been 2 years in recovery, and then they have to have training. And so I work very closely with them in identifying things like this, like the WRAP plan, which is the Wellness Recovery Action Plan, and other activities that will help their clients, we call them consumers, to deal with the challenges of life, PTSD, anxiety, depression. And then some people do have DSM-5, which is the clinical diagnosis, bipolar, ADHD, schizophrenia, more severe challenges, and we help them to figure out how to just manage every day and be self-sufficient.
That's important. Mm-hmm. Since the pandemic, the increase of the need for therapy and assistance with our mental health has increased. Mm-hmm. For the very first time in American history, black men, black boys are committing suicide at a much higher rate than in the history of America. Of all the things we've been through, now we're starting to see that it wasn't what we did. Black men did not commit suicide, but now they are.
Yes.
And so we need to address that for real, in a very serious way. And I get to hear from pastors in our stories and discussions. It's across the board. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic class is. It can be from the wealthiest to the ones who are disconnected the most. It still seems to be an issue that needs to be addressed, and that Black people, almost to a point, refuse to address.
Yeah.
Refuse to address, although it's needed. So how do we address that part of it?
So one of the things, it's interesting too, because I've been a part of the Keisha's company for a while, but I've developed my own tools which actually align with this. Mm-hmm. And so when I've dealt it right before the pandemic started, my mom passed suddenly. And so I had to spend some time in New York, and then I came back and I'm like, okay, what happened here? And just trying to figure out, literally on my drive back from New York, it is when there was no water, you couldn't get cleaning products, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Right. And
so then being quarantined, I realized that I had to figure out my own toolkit. And so oftentimes I would wake up, I'm like, okay, God, I need to hear your word today, and how? And so sometimes I found it literally on social media. Sometimes I found it through song, and I would listen to gospel music, or I would go to YouTube and listen to different ministers preach, as well as go to my church. And so we have to find the things that are going to work for us, because I may be different than you. I've gone to traditional therapy. I've gone to pastoral counseling. There was a time where I was in all three. I was going to two pastors at one time, and a regular therapist. And but we have to move away from the stigma that mental health means that you're crazy. Going to a therapist means that you're crazy. You're not crazy. Or as I say, everybody has a little bit of crazy, and that's okay. And right. So we just have to know that when we have a challenge, we need to address it before it gets out of control.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, here's Miss Keisha right here. Mm-hmm. Let her catch her breath. And then, so yesterday I was talking to a gentleman. He's going to Los Angeles with his wife, and he asked me, someone from Los Angeles, where should he go? And I was giving him a place to go, Malibu and Santa Monica, and where to go in Venice, and what restaurants to go to, and a variety of things for him to do. I made his whole plan out.
Right.
And he says, what other things should I know? I said, do not wear red. Mm-hmm. There's some rules when going to Los Angeles do not do. You do not wear red. Mm-hmm. You need to fill your tank up. Do not stop and get gas at night, because you don't know where you are. Mm-hmm. There's certain things about survival. Right. And I realized I have some PTSD from living in Los Angeles.
My daughter lives there now.
Yeah, she's like, I'm like, I'm worried. Like, I don't wear red very much anymore. Mm-hmm. So, but we as Black folk in America, we have some PTSD by just living in America. Mm-hmm. Tell us what rap is, as Keisha comes up, what rap is, and then does it address some of those just ongoing lifestyle challenges that we have that we don't even know that we have? Mm-hmm.
So RAP stands for Wellness Recovery Action Plan, and basically it's an action plan. It's when you have an action plan, you're identifying the challenges, and then because in order to correct something and create a solution plan, you have to make sure that you know what you're dealing with. And so identify the challenges so that you can address it. And you can address it in any way that suits you. And then so that could be, like I mentioned before, it could be listening to music. It could be going to a yoga class. It could be reading a book. I tend to read Christian books and positive mental attitude books and business books. That's usually my genre of books. It could be taking a bath or taking a shower. Anything that feels good for you, that's appropriate. Because a lot of people will resort to things that they think helps them feel good, like alcohol or drugs or any other kind of addiction. And but you have to focus on things that are going to be positive, that's going to suit you and feed you well. Some people resort to food. My sister was a nervous eater when we were kids, and that just exacerbates the challenges that you may experience. So it needs to be positive. just like when you set SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, reachable, and time sensitive. And that's all positive. And you do the same thing with the RAP plan. Hey.
And who are you? Introduce yourself to the people, please.
Hello, people. I'm Keisha Barnes. I am the CEO of Trinity Wellness Community Care. My apologies. I've been trying to get to Charlotte for the past 2 days. I had 3 flights canceled and was able to, by the skin of my teeth, get on one that literally just got me here. And I have to go back to the airport and get my luggage because I didn't even stop to do that because I just wanted to get here. So I apologize. So yes, I am the CEO. You've already met my program manager, Kelly. We are a peer support agency. We work with people who are struggling with mental health issues and or addictions. It's a very rewarding field. We get to make change, participate in making change, seeing the change, seeing people recover and become integral parts of the community. So I love what I do, and this is just an extension. The RAP plan is definitely an integral part of our program and what we do, and we just thought it would be an awesome thing to share with you guys. So here we are.
Should I ask some questions? You just want to take it away? I have a question already. What are some of the behaviors that you have experienced in yourself or others that are concerning?
Behaviors that that's a good question. Well, I grew up in a very dysfunctional household. My father was abusive and left, and then my stepfather was abusive. And at that point, as a child, you don't know the ins and outs. You don't understand why. You're just experiencing what you're experiencing. As an adult, I realized that he was an addict, so his behavior was very erratic. So, of course, I grew up with classic behaviors and symptoms of a child who grew up in that kind of dysfunction. I perpetuated the same thing. I went out and I found the same kind of men that I grew up with, which perpetuated that same scenario. It got to the point where I was like, I have to do something about it. I have to do something to change. Either I'm going to kill myself or somebody else. Literally, those were the words I said. And I started to go to therapy. And in that process began the healing because, you know, you don't heal overnight. I don't believe it takes as long as some people want to make it take as long as it does. But I began the process of healing and decided that I wanted to be able to help other people. And that's when I went and got my master's in professional counseling so that I can then not only grow and heal myself in the process of learning, but be able to share that knowledge and that experience with other people. So classic behaviors, you know, putting myself in situations that were not safe, that were not good, addiction. We don't need to get into which ones, but definitely just the classic symptoms or classic behaviors. I am done a lot of work over the years, and I am definitely, I can say that I am 98% better than I was because we're human and we're always growing. So I continue to process. I go to school for everything. I try to learn and continue to grow and read and do rap for myself as well. Learn the triggers and all the things that we're going to talk about. And I continue to do them so that I continue to become my best self.
You said something. I just want to tap into something you said. You made the decision, and that's the key thing. That when you are identifying the challenges that you're having, or you're just seeing these things come up over and over and over again, and it's exhausting, and you're crying, and you're in a state of desperation. It's stopping to make that decision that you want to do something different. And so demystify, is that right? I'm thinking, yeah. going to a therapist, going to a psychiatrist. I've worked with psychiatrists, I've worked with counselors, I work with therapists. Know that no matter what anyone else thinks, when you have made the decision that enough is enough, I have this statement I say, I'm like, when you realize that beating your head up against a brick wall and the blood is dripping, that you don't want to see or feel that anymore, is because it's that extreme. That you make the decision to do something different. And that is therapy. That is your own healing, going to classes, books, whatever it is. I'm a YouTube student. I love YouTube. I stay on YouTube, just finding all kinds of resources. And so it's important that you make that decision. And then it starts from there. And if you made the decision, you can only go up, because there's no down. Because if you don't make the decision, you're just going to be staying stuck in the same position that you've been.
Oddly enough, on the plane here, had the same conversation with the flight attendant. It was an amazing conversation, and we talked about how, yes, we're born into some situations. Things happen to us. There are bad things that affect us, that have the capacity to affect us for a lifetime. But there comes a point where we have to take accountability and say, do we give this power over us for the rest of our lives, or do we take power over the situation and learn tools and techniques and methods to overcome those situations and to be in control of the situations or the things that affect us or that have hurt us?
Now, we mentioned rap. We passed out some flyers. Go into a little bit more about tie the flyers into what we're talking about today. What did people receive today? How is rap relevant to us?
Okay, well, if everyone got one, if you open up to the first page, it really just breaks it down. I'm not going to try to be fancy. I'm going to literally read off the page because it tells you exactly what it is. So rap is a wellness plan. It's for everyone. How can it help you? You know yourself best. Rap is your way of keeping well for as long as possible. It also helps you through the bad times when it's hard to think straight. And the aim of this booklet is to help you make a rap plan for yourself. So we all know we're human. We have the human experience. Things come up that trigger us, that remind us of things that are subconsciously will respond to a trigger. This plan is to put things in writing. If you've ever heard of the expression, write the vision and make it plain, which is also biblical. You write the vision, you write it down, you plan ahead. So it's literally planning ahead for stressful times, not so that you're not caught off guard. Of course, you can be caught off guard by situations at any time, but when you write these things down and you follow these techniques, you learn to pick up or recognize the triggers. You learn to pick up, like you say, well, I recognize that I'm starting to feel this way, or I'm saying these things to myself, or I'm going downward, or, I'm spiraling. And you learn to recognize those things. And then you can literally pick up this book and you can say, well, what did I say I was going to do when I feel this way? Instead of letting it continue. So you learn to pattern interrupts, because we're creatures of habit, whether we know it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not. We follow patterns. So when we're upset, we follow patterns. When we're happy, we follow patterns. When we're neutral, we follow patterns. This is a plan and a way to acknowledge and recognize triggers, recognize those patterns, and to interrupt those patterns that cause us harm or that will spiral out and make us do things like drink to feel better, or it doesn't even have to, it could be anything that you do that does not benefit you. Because we don't want to do things that in the short period, make us feel good. Okay, I had a drink, I had too many drinks, I feel good right now. But we all know that ultimately that's not good for you and you're not going to feel well afterwards. So this is a way to develop a plan, put it in writing, so in advance you have this here. And when things come up and they trigger you, or you're feeling bad, or you're just feeling off, because some days we just feel off, You can say, well, you know what I said, when I feel off, I'm going to listen to this music. I'm going to do some yoga. I'm going to do some stretches. I'm going to go take a long walk in nature. I'm going to put my feet in some grass and ground myself. I'm going to pray. This is what I'm going to, and do it. And you'll see that it actually does work. It actually just does change your perspective.
And I'm going to add to that, because what happens is when you keep these things, you may know all the things that work for you, but when you keep them in your head and you are dealing with a specific situation and that trigger hits, you're not going to think clearly to remember to go to this. So if it's written down, then it's easier for you to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to journal today. Or I'm going to do, I'm just going to go to a coloring book. And what we're saying can work for children all the way through to a senior. It doesn't matter the age. In addition, it's not even just a list. When I worked with children with mental health disorders, I used to get from the dollar store, the plastic shoe bin. And in that shoe bin, the child identified all the things that they wanted. And this is what you can do for yourself too, and create this box, a physical box. You can have the list, but you can also create a physical box. So maybe in the box there's a candle. Maybe in the box there's a devotional. Maybe in the box there's a set of affirmation cards. Maybe there's a pocket Bible. I have a friend, he carries a pocket Bible everywhere he goes, so that he can flip to it when he's starting to feel anxious. You can have a stress ball in that box. Maybe there's a healthy snack in that box. And so that's something that you can go to. When I worked with kids, I would, when they were getting out of control and they were melting down, I'm like, go get your box, because I would leave it at the house. Go get your box. And then I'm like, I want you to pick one thing. It also helps, especially with children, to help them make decisions. And even for the adult, to make positive decisions. And so create this and figure out what are those things that are going to work for you. And then create that box, and then that's going to be your go-to. And you're going to find that in your subconscious, you're just going to go to them. It's not going to be such a conditioned situation, but it's going to become a part of your everyday life.
So to add to that, if you turn to page 3, it talks about wellness tools. And it says, first, we all need to make a toolbox to store all of our wellness tools, which is exactly what you just said. Mm-hmm. In short, your wellness tools are a list of day-to-day things that make you feel good. So this is a practice. Like she said, you want to practice things that make you feel good every day. If you think about it, it makes sense, right? We have so many things going on, stressful things. We have to pay the bills. We have to do this. We have to get here. We have to get to work. We have to get the kids ready. We have to, so many things in our life daily that are stressful. Why not put things in place every day that make you feel good, that are good for you, right? So you develop this toolbox, and a few examples. It says going to the gym, holistic treatments, listening to music, a chat with friends, hot bath, being alone in a quiet place, going for a walk. We can't maybe do all of these things, but we can certainly do some. We can go for a walk, right? We can go outside, find a piece of grass and put our feet in the grass and look up to the sky and pray. We can write in a journal. We can we want to be able to put things in our toolbox that we can take out every day and do minimum one. But if you could do 2 or 3 of those things, think of how that will impact each day, and ultimately how it will impact your week, your year, and your life. Because you're feeding yourself, you're doing self-care, and you're taking care of yourself every day in the midst of all of the stressful things.
Mm-mm. Question: what are some of what's the most prevalent issue in society today around mental health or substance abuse?
So one of the things that when I did a little research, depression came up. They said over 300 million people. Is that right? I think that was right on the number. I could be off on the number. But this depression was on the top of the list. Especially coming out of the pandemic. And as you can see, people are still wearing masks. People still wear gloves. I know people that won't travel. So depression, because we're dealing with so many factors, the cost of living, food desert, just the crime rate. I mean, it's just so many different things. Children being a little bit behind. I was at Butler High School yesterday, and we were talking about that, how so many kids are behind because they were trying to homeschool during the pandemic. And there's just so many different factors that we may not even know that what we're seeing in our family is depression. If someone is sleeping too long, if someone is overeating or not eating enough. I don't eat when I'm out of sorts. My sister is the opposite. She overeats. Someone who is not getting enough sleep. Someone who is maybe biting their nails. She used to be a nail biter. All those different things. Or my friend's daughter used to pick her hair. You know, if you're starting to see unusual behaviors in the people in your family, then that may be a time to sit and check in. We had, for the sister company, I'm also the executive director of Keisha's nonprofit Trinity Wellness Community Outreach. And we had a mom was seeing these things with her 15-year-old son. And so we encouraged her to get a notebook and to give him some journal prompts. And so she asked him to write 3 things about the what was going on between the two of them. Excuse me. And at 6 o'clock, we're going to sit down and have a conversation. They went through the activity. She didn't think he was going to do it, but he actually told her afterwards, I felt like you really heard me, and I want to keep doing this. A 15-year-old boy. We know them 15-year-old boys, first of all, much less sit down and write. You know, I helped raise my brother, so I know. Excuse me. And she said that she was so elated about his response that she did it with her other 2 children. And so we have to really key in. I know life may be difficult, but, you know, the people around you, and there's a saying too, check on your strong friends, because even the strong friends may be dealing with something. So, you know, just keep your eyes open, keep your ears open to the conversation. And I always say, look between the lines as well, because what you don't hear and what you don't see may also be an example of, I need to step in and help my friend or help my sister or help my child or help my husband or something like that. And especially women who are married, please check on your husband, because oftentimes we think as the head of the household that they're good. But as Pastor said, there are so many men who are not good. The weight of the world is on their back, and we need to be a support to them. And even like your good brother, your good sister, I have a lot of men who are my good brothers, and you do the check-in and make sure that they're okay.
And to add to that, that is also part of what the RAP program teaches. It teaches you to look for these signs in others, but in yourself, to be aware of the signs, to be able to acknowledge, hey, I'm not acting, you know, what I feel is my normal self, or I'm doing this, or I'm feeling this way, and again, recognize those things so that you can take action and not let it continue to spiral. You learn techniques to, like I said, take control of your feelings, of your emotions, of whatever you're experiencing, as opposed to, you know, just letting it continue, because of course we know that if we let it just continue, it just builds up and it gets worse.
We have a couple minutes. Anybody have any questions from the audience? Any questions? Every question is a hidden question.
First of all, thank you everyone for this. This is very powerful information, especially the RAP program. My question for you is, for anyone that is underinsured, what is your suggestion on maybe getting them some support in addition to the RAP program? Is there certain videos or maybe some kind of self-help they can do, or is there programs out there that can assist them?
That's a good question. There are a variety. You can always check betterhealth.com. They work on a sliding fee scale. My daughter herself, before she relocated to the West Coast, wasn't employed, and so she went online and sought services through them. Sometimes in your local community, there are therapists that will also provide maybe a few free or low cost services. And then there are churches, like my former church actually has their own counseling center. And so sometimes within the church, and I did that when I was in New York, when I was going through a separation, I sought the church and I went to one of the counselors in the church and met with them on a regular. And then when I did have coverage, then I was able to seek more clinical professional help. And then I would go to videos. There are all kinds of videos. In this day of technology, you can, just do a Google search. I say Google is your friend. Put in just Google free local, free counseling services or free activities, or low cost activities to help me through depression, mood swings, whatever you're dealing with. And it'll give you a whole list of activities, because that's how we guide our staff to do the same thing when they're working with their clients, to look for, strong activities that they can sit down and the person can then learn to do it on their own.
And also, peer support is a Medicaid funded program. So if someone does have Medicaid, they can look into peer support programs. And there are other programs that offer resources. So again, you can I Google it. There are a lot of resources out there. Like I said, if you have Medicaid, peer support is an awesome program, because we cover this and so many more things, and provide as many resources as we can. Nonprofits. We also have, like you said, a nonprofit for, we created it for single mothers. We're expanding it now for women. That's our specialty. But there are nonprofits for men as well that can also help provide resources, point you in the direction of resources. But there are definitely programs. We found some that offer free counseling and low cost counseling. And we came from the same church, so I know they also have a counseling program. You just, part of getting better, part of the journey, like Kelly said, is taking a step. We have to, even when we're hurting, even when we're down, there's something that we have to tap into inside of ourselves to make that first step, to do the first part of the work, the first leg of the work. And if that is doing some research, if you take the time and you do the research, you'll find some resources. They are out there. Unfortunately, I wish that they were more, publicized, and they are starting. But in the meantime, take the step. Look, type in, I'm depressed. What can I do? What resources can I find? I'm experiencing this. Where can I go? And resources will come up.
Your local library is a good place as well. And then, I'm a YouTuber. I go to YouTube when I'm just dealing with things, and I look for something positive that I know will feed me in the right way.
Well, ladies, we're at our time. We want to thank you for coming. Give them a hand for presenting today. And how best can we get in contact with your organization?
So we can be reached at the telephone number, like real contact information.
It's your time to shine.
704-283-9511, extension 3. That comes directly to me. You can also email me at k.watts@trin, TRIN, WELLCC.com. And again, that's my direct email and
Website is www.trinitywellnesscc.com. And you can go on the website, check us out. There's a form you can fill out, and someone will reach out to you. The fastest way, though, would be definitely just to give us a call or email Kelly, and someone will reach out to you, and we can discuss the program and hopefully be able to help you. Let me just also add, since we don't have enough time to go through the whole RAP plan, it literally gives you instructions. Just follow each one, fill out the paperwork, and keep it for yourself. Daily maintenance. It addresses everything to help you, like I said, to daily help yourself It helps you learn triggers about yourself, early warning signs of distress, what we discussed. It covers a lot. And then even after a crisis. So if you go through this packet and you fill it out for yourself and take the time, do it when you have time to sit in a quiet place and really think about your answers, because this is something you're doing for yourself. You're investing in yourself, and the best thing you can do for yourself is invest in yourself and do self-care. And this is one of the best forms of self-care you can do. So please take it home, take the time, and complete the packet.
We want to thank everyone for coming out today. This has been Charlotte Conversations. We talked about, we got to have you guys back again. We talk about our wellness and recovery action plan so we all can live a life in power. Would you want to live in power? I say yes. Yes. Come and join us every Sunday at 11 o'clock here at online if you're watching, but here at Airsy Grand Cinema. This is the Elm. We want to have something to empower you each and every week so you may live your best life. God is still in the miracle working power. He has not given up on us, but he wants us to walk alongside of him and do some work too. But you also have to believe. Do you believe? I believe. Let's take us out in prayer. Father God, we thank you, the Lord, for being our Father, our light, the one who loves us the most. As we reflect that back towards you today, Father, we love you so much. And we're thankful for having another opportunity to get it right again. As we go forth, dear Father, you become great and we'll become small, that you may get all the glory, get all the victories, and get all the joy. We ask these things in the great name of Jesus, we pray. We all said, amen, amen, amen. Give yourselves a hand. All right. We'll have all this information.